Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime co-host Miss Purrington. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy. We've got a festivals page and our FPIA page where you can see the history of the contest. You can keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok at Comedy Wham or on our Comedy Wham Facebook page. And why am I not mentioning YouTube? We have a YouTube channel too. And of course, we're best known for our events page for live shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW. If you're a comic in those cities and want your show featured on the calendar, go to the events page and click Submit a Show. Actually, there's a really cool Submit a Show button right on the homepage too. And fill out the short survey. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we will share your show promo. Looking for ways to support all these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Search for Comedy Wham on Patreon and check out our subscriber perks. Now let's get back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and we usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, I'm talking to the co-host of Business Hours. It's a weekly comedy show set in a convenience store. I've actually seen him lately doing more experimental comedy than traditional stand-up. But we were running open mics at about the same time about 5 years ago, which is crazy that now I'm getting to interview him. He makes visually interesting short videos that you need to check out on his YouTube channel. And I'll give a particular shout out to Don't Make Tea and Snake Charmer because the Don't Make Tea, I literally envisioned myself sitting in one of those dark rooms at a contemporary art museum watching this on a loop and thinking, yeah, that fits. That fits the vibe.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was written up in the 2022 Top 10 Austin Comedy Stories in the Austin Chronicle. Not that I had a hand in that.
How that happened.
And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Zain Hussain. Hi, welcome.
Hello, thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited about this. Unreasonably so, because I just remember you as an open micer. And now, 5 years later, I'm seeing you do experimental shit, and I'm seeing the videos that you had on YouTube, and
I'm still going to open mics.
Yeah, sure, That's true. There is that. Yeah, and I have run out of time to go to open mics. One day, though, I'll get back to it. I think maybe.
I like doing those videos. They're all really. I mean, I really made those like spur of the moment things. They're very like, I don't know. They're not something I really think about often. I forgot that I'd done them until you mentioned it. You mentioned both of them, and I was like, by name, it like triggered something in me. Yeah. I was like, oh, whoa, I did.
They were really cool.
I forgot that those were up. Yeah.
Am I right? You went to film school.
Oh, yeah.
You have a film degree.
I'm currently actually still there, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. You're still in school?
Yeah, I took a year off during the pandemic to work at like a food truck, and I went to community college for a while, so still working my way through, just about to graduate, hopefully.
Huh, okay. Because, all of your videos, they have the air of, oh, I know what I'm doing as a video editor. I'm doing these really cool techniques and...
I definitely like doing video stuff. It's really interesting work. I think I could do more of that in the future. I'm working on a lot of documentary stuff right now. It's kind of like the angle I'm kind of looking at things.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't think anything has ever come close to how much I enjoy stand-up and comedy stuff.
Huh.
So I know that's going to be the forefront of everything that I want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
The head of it all. But it's cool that you saw those videos. I don't think anyone else really has, or anyone's thought of them. They scared my mom. She saw them, and she literally called me and was like viscerally affected by the video. that one.
Yeah, that one was, I mean, like I said, I could visualize myself sitting in one of those dark contemporary art museums, and it was like I could try to imagine the little white cards that they have. This is talking about the patriarchy and societal influences and all that speak.
Yeah, just love. I'm a very deep person, so I'm glad that you could see that through my art.
There you go. Okay, let's go back to what I always do, which is my icebreaker question. Mm-hmm. One word to describe your past.
Smooth.
Oh my gosh. I'm not sure anybody has ever said that.
It's I feel like I've had a pretty good upbringing and feel pretty well adjusted to things, and I feel like I've got enough, support where I need to kind of like pull myself up and be a whole person when I need to.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it was definitely like I moved around a lot, so it was not always smooth, but I'm just gonna say that as a blanket statement for the whole. Yeah, if you asked me like 5 years ago, I probably would have said something a bit cheesier or something a bit more about how tough it's been.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Age has a way of saying, looking back, maybe not so bad.
Yeah, I was fine. Yeah. Everything was fine.
Am I right from, stalking your Instagram that you were a world traveler?
I mean, I was born in Hong Kong and then raised in like Houston, Karachi. I did like half a high school in Pakistan.
Oh my God.
So like,
okay, so yes, I am.
But
correct.
it's not like I feel like a world traveler makes it sound like I'm trying to travel the world, but it's more like I was taken to these places. Like it wasn't really my decision for the most part, but I have been around a bit. I've been around.
Yeah. And how many languages have you picked up in this, being around the world?
None.
No. Are you serious?
I can speak Urdu, and pretty okay. I mean, over here I can impress people if I need to, but when I'm back there, they just like sizzle me. They roast me. They're awful to me because my Urdu is laughable there. It's pretty clear that I'm more Texan than I am anything else in terms of at least my dialect. I mean, I say y'all there and they do spit takes. They lose their minds. They think I'm a real cowboy, and I think that's awesome. That's kind of, I like being a blend of things.
Yeah. No, that's being a mutt is pretty good. I consider myself a mutt.
Yeah,
so.
I like it. I like having a lot of different experiences and friends around the place. It's very weird trying to like match humor to like in other countries. I mean, just like having friends there and like seeing what people think is funny there is always interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did laughter have a role in your life growing up?
Definitely. I mean, my dad's really funny and my mom's really twisted. She's really funny in like a really dark way. She's always talked about like, I don't know, she would always say things like, I'm going to die soon. So you kids got to be able to fend for yourself and figure yourselves out. So she's got a really dark, I think I get my darker aside from her, and my dad's, he's a real goofball, silly guy. So I kind of got like a good duality going from them.
When you, how long were you in Hong Kong?
Like 3 years. Barely remember it.
And then that's the move to Houston?
Mm-hmm. And then Houston to Pakistan, and then Pakistan to Houston, and then Houston to Pakistan, Pakistan to Houston, Houston to Austin.
Wow.
But that's the whole thing.
Wow. And, okay, so I already know that you must not have spent enough time in Pakistan to be, well, they're making fun of your dialect when you visit.
Yeah, I can speak. I can like hold up a conversation, but I can't read or write or.
Oh my God, we're so similar.
Okay, you're also your immigrant background similar?
Yeah, because I was born in Belgium, moved when I was 6, so I essentially have a kindergartner's education. I can have a full-on conversation in French. That's my language. Can't read, can't write.
Yeah. I think it's cool being, just like able enough to like communicate.
Yeah.
And then no other skills. I'd love to read and write. I'd love to, but it seems it's tough to actually commit to learning another language. And yeah, you have to like, surround yourself with people who are always speaking it, which I try to do here. I mean, I like to hang out with like older Muslim men who I like find at local businesses. I feel like that's like a
Seems
staple.
a random sentence.
Yeah, it's something. It's definitely just an extracurricular activity I get up to in my free time, I guess. I have a history with it.
Yeah.
There used to be this store on Guad called Sam's Computers, and it was like this old computer store that was there for like years, for like 20, 25 years, and it was run by this like old Pakistani man named Imran. And I would just go in there, I'd like bring a book, I'd read, and then I'd just hang out with him for like hours. We'd watch cricket games or
Oh my
like
gosh.
just talk shop, you know. It was really interesting. It's such an archaic place because it was just filled with like old iPhone cases and like tech from like 15, 20 years
Oh my
ago that he
gosh.
hadn't cleared out. It was really special.
So as a kid, bouncing around from Houston, Texas, to Pakistan, you feel free to correct me because I'm going to fuck this up the
I
entire
mean,
episode.
I don't care. I probably won't. But
How much whiplash were you getting as a kid? Or were you just not even aware of like these major cultural ping pongs that you were going through?
I mean, I think it was interesting to observe, I guess. I noticed a lot of similarities between the two worlds. It was like two different worlds I was in when I was here and when I was there. But I think overall I was able to like find, the people that made me laugh and that I liked being around.
Yeah.
So I got through it all pretty easily, I guess. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting living in like a country that's like 98% Muslim, and then like moving here. And I remember, like in elementary school, someone was like, "Wait, so are you Christian?" And I didn't know what to say, so I was just like, "Yes." I like didn't. I was like, I wanted to be cool. I wanted them to like accept me. And then they were like, "Do you go to church?" And I was like, "No, what's church?" And then they immediately just caught me in my lie. And I was like, "Oh, I'm such a fool. I don't even know. I didn't even know like other religions existed until I was like 8 years old, I guess, 7 or 8 years old when I moved here, because I was just only surrounded with one. So I think that was an interesting part of development
Yeah.
for sure. Was seeing other people and just like a whole different, society,
Yeah.
basically. And I love it here. I think I really do feel like Texas is my home.
Yeah. But you go back from time to time.
Yeah, I went back in 2019. I'll probably go back again at some point
Yeah.
soon. Because my mom still lives there and my little brother lives there too.
Oh.
And I have like a lot of family there, so I go back when I can. But I enjoy going back. It's just not somewhere I see myself living, at least for most of my life.
I mean, this is Comedy Wham, so I have to ask, what is comedy like in Pakistan?
It's interesting. Last time I went, I actually did go to a show, and I was trying to talk to people there because I was like maybe 2 years into comedy, and I was like relatively confident in my stuff, but I also knew that none of my stuff could really work there because it's so blasphemous. Like I just feel like it would be really tough navigating certain subjects in that culture.
Yeah.
But I went to a roast battle. I found out after I got there it was predominantly in Urdu, so I basically didn't understand like most of the battle, but like I got like the gist of it. And I've seen like one or two comedy shows there. They're all interesting. There is like a scene that's there. I remember talking to people about the scene and trying to like scope out what it was like. And it's very similar to how it's set up here in some ways. There's roast battles that go on. There's like shows that are monthly at the same venue and weird basement shows that happen and stuff like that. There's still like a whole alt scene and like there's panel shows and stuff that people who like do comedy enough will end up getting on TV with, and it's interesting to see like the whole,
Yeah.
the same culture here over there. kind of growing out of stuff here. I definitely think the roast battles came like after roast became popular here, and then took form over there. Like I mean, we didn't get boba tea until like 10 years ago, 10 years ago, or maybe like, I remember when it happened, we got our first boba shop in Karachi, and I was like, this is huge. This is massive for us. This is a cultural touchstone.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Boba tea. We're big boba tea fans here, so we're very pro boba tea.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I love it. I can't get enough of it, and I'm just glad that it's over there now. And it's just, there's stuff like that moved over there that was really interesting, like seeing it, like just come up. Like, I mean, we always had KFC and McDonald's, but we just got like our first Mexican restaurant, and that blows my mind too, because it's so far away from Pakistan. It's like way across the globe. Why would they even like think of like how did that even come to mind? But it's just American culture like intercepting like Pakistanis, and then they're like, all right, I got a business idea. It's just something that they've been doing here. It's basically a Chipotle. I'm trying to get my little brother to work there. I've been like telling him, you gotta work there. You're from Texas. You're in Pakistan. It's the only Mexican restaurant in the country. This is such a unique experience for you to like jump into. But he's lazy. So I don't think he's gonna do it. But wishful thinking.
Yeah. Okay. So you have funny moments from your childhood, and you end up in Austin.
Yes.
About how many years ago?
I guess 4 or 5 years ago, 2018.
Okay.
If you count the pandemic.
Well,
we'll
get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I moved here to go to community college, which you don't really have to do that anywhere. You could just go to community college in any city that you're already in. But I didn't want to live in Houston anymore, and I wanted to like live by myself, because I was like, I'm 18 now, take it on. And then I moved here, and like on my first night, I like just went on a random walk downtown and like walked into Fallout Theater. And like I saw a show, and then I stuck around for the late show, and I was hooked. That was it. It was on a complete whim that I was just walking downtown in a random direction from my house, because I just moved here, and it was like one of the first places I went to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
You could have walked into.
Yeah, I could have walked into any other establishment and be a completely different. I could have walked into like I guess I was underage, so it'd have to be somewhere. I couldn't have walked into a strip club.
Right.
I was 18. But I could have walked into like a Barnes and Nobles, and I could be a librarian now.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole different path that I could have gone on in the multiverse.
Do you think you'd always been craving like that comedy element, or do you really think you're just that susceptible to influence?
I mean, I think it was in me for sure. I did debate and speech in high school, and my brother did debate and speech, and the most memorable moments from that were when we were fucking around, and like when my brother like told us stories about just like throwing rounds and throwing the competition and not taking it seriously and having fun. Like that was the kind of stuff I was like, oh, this is interesting, that it's just funny, that you're like you're able to speak and present stuff, but you're also kind of playing to the judge. Because I did PF.
Oh my God!
So I don't know if you want to hear about.
I was a CXer, but my son's at Harvard right now.
Oh wow!
PF-ing.
He's a PF.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And it is the bane of. This is the one area we butt heads, because I'm like, CX, man, CX.
I cannot stand CX. I think it is atrocious. I think y'all are like weird freaks. I don't understand you. I don't know why you would do anything like that.
This is it. The podcast is over. Get out. I'm keeping the goodies. No, that's so funny that you're a PFer.
Yeah, I love a lay judge. I love just someone's mom. Like, that's perfect. That's exactly who I want to be talking to.
I tried volunteering once as a judge. I couldn't follow it.
You couldn't understand? Really?
I couldn't follow it, no.
It's so... I feel like it's the babiest form of debate. It's like the most...
Well, it's the newest. I mean, it wasn't around when I was debating.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably
I'm very old.
It's probably only been around like 15 years, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very old.
I mean,
So-
I'm.
Okay,
nothing.
sorry, I derailed. I just had to know what you're. I'm glad you said that you're a PFer because I was dying to know when you said what were that you did speech and debate. So,
Yeah,
they're all
it's-
goofballs.
It's
And-
the
yeah.
goofiest time because you can, if it's a lay joke, like I remember quoting the Bible during PF rounds just because I knew that the judge was Christian and that I could like get like vibes from them. I would do a lot of really like silly things to like throw them and to like, yeah, I remember once my like,
Improving.
yeah, basically improving. I think that's
Yeah.
what I realized I was doing. And then at the tournament itself, you're just kind of like having a fun time with everyone. You're just trying. It's like I remember I never made it. The first year I took it seriously, and I remember being like really focused. And then in the middle of my freshman year of high school, I moved to Pakistan, and then moved back my junior year, and I came back like a loose cannon. I was just like ready to just be insane and not take anything seriously in debate or in just generally. I think I was way more lax because I was like, I don't know, moving kind of like threw off my whole thing. I feel like I would have been probably like a engineering major, software engineer type person. I'd probably be valedictorian if I stayed in Houston for all 4 years of high school.
Yeah.
But I think it was good that I had a wrench thrown into my plans. Because, yeah, that would have been really boring to go down that path.
So you have this life-changing experience at Fallout Theater. What's your next step?
I think I went to a couple shows for like a week or two before I went to my first open mic. And then I did an open mic at Volstead. That was the first one I did. I basically probably disassociated from it. Just like got up on stage, spoke written word stuff, probably disassociated right afterwards, just had a lot of adrenaline.
Yeah.
And then I remember it being like, I probably did bad. I was probably pretty bad. But I remember going to like another mic after that. I went to Cenote that same week because Thursday, and then Friday I did Cenote.
And we all know what's on Saturdays.
And yeah, well, Saturday I hadn't even heard of it at that point. I didn't even know that was around. But Sunday I did go to Cap City. And I think I did a completely different set than I'd ever done. And I think that was the first time it like clicked for me because I did the open mic there, and I actually did well, at least from relative to how I'd done the 2 times before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you approach those open mics? Because you've not been a performer other than speech and debate, where you're supposed to be prepared.
Yeah.
Did you write stuff? You said
The first mic I did, I had like a Google Doc. I remember being such a nerd about it when I first started. I had a whole thing typed on my laptop that I'd sort of memorized, and I remember I could probably find it, and it's probably god-awful. I probably would just cringe at every second of reading it. But I remember by the time Cap came, like that weekend, I'd completely, like, thrown out all the material I'd done and then wrote, like, this just, like, short 3-minute set with, like, punchlines and jokes in it that made more sense. It was less, like, stream of consciousness stuff. And then I kind of understood more that, I actually enjoy the structure to it all more so than just like, firing off vulnerabilities or whatever I was doing when I first started.
Yeah.
So I think I got it more seeing, and also I think watching comics at Cap really helped when I first started. It was definitely like important for me to see how people run the mic and how like you don't have to be like completely prepared with, you don't have to do like a ton of homework. It's really a lot of doing it is just being in the room and paying attention to the room. I think that helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it might have been Joey Z hosting the mic that first time, but it's been a long time. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. So for the first year or so, you're just getting to as many open mics as you can. And as we start creeping towards March of 2020, where do you see yourself fitting in and being comfortable with being a stand-up? Or now, are you doing anything other than stand-up in this period?
I guess I was doing some stuff, but it was all on the side. I was doing some improv stuff, but nothing that really like clicked with me. Stand-up was definitely the thing I was most passionate about, and I was going out like every night for that whole year. So I was trying to get in as many sets I could a week, and I remember just being like addicted to it, and I was so into it. I couldn't stop. So I was gearing up to something, and then I remember I had like a whole crisis because I just bombed my ass off at FPIA.
Oh.
I ate like complete shit. I was the worst set of the night. I remember just sucking so bad, and it was a huge blow to my confidence, but it was also, I think, super good for my writing and for just like my perception of stand-up, because like after that I remember I took 2 weeks off where I just didn't do any sets, didn't do anything, just kind of lived, and then I started writing again, and I think I had a completely different approach to stand-up after that bomb, that like tragic moment in my life. And I remember I did Live at Cold Town at the end of that month, the same month, and I had like the best set I'd ever had, and it was like an electric feeling, and I was way more like off. I think it like made me not rely on the material as much, and it made me pay attention to like the room more, for sure. Just because I remember being like so confident in those jokes, and for them to go so badly and then to continue doing them throughout the FPIA set, I was like, oh, this is awful. Like, I should have just acknowledged that I destroyed the room and made everyone feel awful instead of just kept on going. So that was really funny. I remember I was in a stand-up little group at the time.
Did you do the same jokes you had been doing leading up to FPIA? And
No, like at Cold Town, at Live at Cold Town?
No, at your FPIA that you say you bombed.
Yeah, I did a lot of the same jokes that I'd been doing, and they'd done okay in other places. It was literally not the fault of the jokes. I opened with something that was like so aggressive and upsetting. The audience didn't know how to react to it, and I've opened with it before, but it was I'd never performed in front of 200 people, and also like, yeah, I remember it was such a weird experience to just like bomb immediately, just come out the gates, out the gates just sucking so hard. And it never happened before that bad. I'd never upset a room like that. So that was a really cool experience.
That's an accomplishment, Zain. You ruined 200 people's experience.
Yeah, for 6 minutes, I just ruined their vibe, and and I feel good about it now.
You've learned. You've learned from the experience.
Yeah, it feels great. I remember what I said even. I had this like one thing about like I came out and I picked on someone's dad in the front row.
Oh God.
And I said something about them, like something about like having sex with him for college tuition or something. Just something so stupid, and like I think it was Sawyer's dad.
Oh God.
If you know who Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Sawyer's dad, and I remember being like, wow, I'm never gonna recover from this. This is the worst experience I've ever had. But I did FPIA this last year, and it was fun. Yeah. So it's fine. It's
well, you've learned. I mean, there's a lot of time that has passed between it, because the last FPIA was 2019. So
yeah.
So Cold Town got you on the right track as far as figuring out, I gotta read the room. And
I was in a stand-up group that Karina Magyar was kind of like, she would take in a lot of new people and like kind of like talk to them weekly. And I remember the week after FPIA, I told everyone about my experience, and they were like dying laughing, because they were like, that's so funny that you did so bad. Like that really helped. I think that made me feel a bit more comfortable, and like not as, defeated.
Yeah.
I was able to recover from that. But it was a huge moment for me.
Oh, man.
All my friends, both of my best friends were there. They saw the whole thing. Matt Bearden just roasted me right after I got off stage.
I mean, that's almost worth it.
Yeah, that was kind of nice. Yeah, I mean, looking back, it's like that's a moment.
I mean, to be bad enough to get a Matt Bearden roast, well, that's an accomplishment.
I'm proud of what happened that night.
Okay, so stand up leading up to March 2020. That is your sole focus. And by the way, you're still a student. At this point.
I mean,
so you're juggling school and this passion.
Yeah, but school's not really that hard. School's fine. It feels, I'll be done with it soon. It's not something that's in the front of my brain.
Yeah.
It's just kind of happening. But I definitely focus more on stand-up and care more about it than most other aspects.
Was the okay? We're gonna get close to doing our little card game, but before we do the card game, let me ask one question: Did the Zain and Carlos duo exist before COVID?
Oh yeah, definitely. We ran shows together before COVID.
Ah, okay.
About in 2019, we started doing a show at the Co-op. It was kind of a sister show to Chortle Portal, because that was already going on. And then I asked Clarkston if he'd be okay with us doing another show at a Co-op, and he was like, "Yeah, go for it. You definitely." And he was a big part of us starting that up. That was kind of our first step together as friends. I met Carlos at one of my first open mics, probably at my first open mic at Volstead or something, and we went to a lot of our first mics together, so we've been friends for a long time. But we definitely, running a show together at the Co-op was a big moment for us, just a bonding moment that really helped. So we've been friends for close to, I guess, 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, as long as I've been doing stand-up.
Yeah,
that's how we
cool.
met. So.
I had no idea. I thought, it's a recent thing, and now they're doing this show. And
oh yeah, I think we're partners in crime. We've kind of grown together in both of our experiences with it. That year he qualified for FPIA. He made it to the finals.
I know,
and
right?
He was my best friend. So that was really interesting for me. That was particularly
humbling.
Yes. So humbling. Just
yeah, he came out of nowhere. I remember that finals. Yeah.
Everyone was taken aback by him. They're like, "Wow, this guy's great."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm his best friend."
I'm
ever
the one
heard
that
of me?
destroyed the room during prelims.
So that was we've been tighter than we're two peas in a pod.
Yeah. All right. Let's take our little intermission and do the break. So pick a card. I'll read it off to you.
Okay, this one.
That one. Okay.
Left card.
The person I find most annoying is...
Oh no. How am I supposed to... is this supposed to be in scene, or is this supposed to just be in my personal life? Is it just... I don't know. My boss micromanages me a lot at work. She's always telling me to I don't know. There's a lot of small things that I don't like about her. I guess that's something that annoys me a lot. Culturally speaking, I don't know, Tucker Carlson gets on my nerve. There's just what route am I supposed to take with this? Locally, there's a lot of people that annoy
name
me.
Names.
I don't want to name names. I know that everyone is going to, everyone does the podcast. I don't want to name. You've probably talked to the person who I find the most annoying. You've probably had them on the podcast.
Probably. I've had a lot of annoying people. At some point, we've all been annoying, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I don't know who the most annoying person is. I feel like sometimes the most annoying people are my favorite as well. I'll have a friend who I need them to annoy me. I need them to push me. I need someone to push my buttons because I get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna lock in the most annoying person is Conrad Fagan. I'm gonna name drop him.
Okay.
Because he's a good friend of mine, but he can be a bitch. He can be just a total nuisance and a pain in the ass, but he's also one of the funniest people I've ever met. And people love and hate him. I think he's one of the most controversial people in the whole city in terms of just how people feel about him. It's a real love-hate situation. He's, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see what I have to answer.
All right.
And
The
if I don't
thing
like it,
I complain the most about.
oh my gosh. Things not being in their place. I'm so OCD.
Oh,
and
like physical things not being in their
Yeah.
place, or just spiritually speaking?
No, not spiritual. Well, spiritually, yes, there's a thing that's definitely not in its right place. But yeah, no, like
Well,
things I need.
I want to know what that is. I want to. What is?
Oh, that's gonna get really dark and sad if I do it, though. Are we Facebook friends?
I think we are Facebook friends.
Like for a long time?
I think we've been Facebook friends for a while, but I don't know if I've seen anything recently. If there's been
Well,
something.
so my son's father passed away.
I
And
didn't know about that. I'm
That's
sorry.
the thing that it's like, all right, that should not have happened.
Spiritual unbalance.
Yeah,
Understood.
yeah, because then, it creates a whole thing for my son and,
But physically, physically, things can't be in the wrong place without you.
yeah, no.
You need to have it all organized. My
Yeah.
mom's the same way.
Yeah.
She cleans all the time. She spends nonstop putting things
Yeah.
in place. So
It's really bad. And I know, like, from appearances, you're like, this house is all of chaos. Like, there's just random shit everywhere.
I would not have said that.
But I'm saying it.
This place is very clean and orderly. I think your house looks beautiful. You have great furniture, and the whole place looks so great.
But to me, all I see is that should not be there. That should be put away. That should not be there. That's all I see, and I allow it to create stress until I decide, okay, house cleaning, dump everything.
What do you do to get rid of that? What eases your, like, when do you find yourself okay with the mess? Because I
don't.
live in mess. I
No.
love mess.
Oh no! I eventually get to a point where I have to purge, and then that gets me back to okay.
Purge,
zen.
like clean everything out, like do a
Yeah,
whole.
yeah.
I think I mainly clean when I'm avoiding something. When I'm like,
yeah.
oh, there's something I'm procrastinating or putting off, is when I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, time to really focus on my bathroom. Like,
You know what Mexican therapy is?
no, I mean,
It's,
I've never heard
It's
of
house
it.
cleaning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If I'm like really needing like some evaluation
Mm-hmm.
of self and situations, the house will never be cleaner.
I've never heard that before,
Really?
but that's a great phrase, and I'm going to use it a lot, and I'm going to use it in a way that makes people uncomfortable. People are going to
Yes, do it. You
I'm
have my
excited to.
endorsement. But don't make it racist. Just,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, sure.
All of my Mexican girlfriends say the same thing.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah.
let's do some Mexican therapy. Time to clean.
Generally speaking, I can make things uncomfortable by making things racist. It's a power that I've noticed you can tap into when
Yeah.
you're a race.
Yeah.
So I like to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's just it's something that's fun to do with your friends if they're, make them feel uncomfortable and make them feel like, oh no, we have to like tiptoe around this subject now, and I like to be really abrasive about stuff like that.
If you deconstruct what comedy is, comedy is breaking tension. And if
Yeah.
you build the tension because you're like kind of dancing around a racist thing or not a racist thing, a thing that might be about race.
Yeah.
Where people are like, oh, I don't know if I should like
Just makes
this or
people
not.
tense up a little, yeah.
But then you figure out the way to break the tension in the comedic way, then that's art. And because you are of a race, you have that advantage, and you're kind of forced to build that skill.
Allahu Akbar.
Sure. I don't know if I can say it. Can I?
Yeah, I mean, go
Okay.
ahead. If you say it, I'd be fine with it.
I don't even know. I can't even say it.
See, I like this. This is
Because
what I
you
enjoy. I like seeing
threw in
you
some
try to do it.
R's, a lot more R's than I
Yeah.
thought was in the phrase.
Can you
Isn't
go
it Allah Akbar?
us thug for a look? Could you say that?
No,
one?
I don't know what you're telling me to say. No, I draw the line.
Okay, that's fair. That's fine. Just having fun.
I do not need to be canceled, Zane. I've
would
built
never.
too much of my career as a fledgling podcaster. All right, so what'd you do during COVID?
I moved in with Clarkston, with Andrew Clarkston.
Oh, boy.
Basically, like right after like 2 or 3 months into COVID, and then I ingested so much media. I probably went crazy on watching and consuming things, and I did some like online school at ACC and stuff, and I worked at a food truck, at a shawarma food truck for 6 months, at a just working around like a bunch of Arab people and making shawarma all day and from like 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. Like 4 to 5 days a week. So I submersed myself in that culture, I guess, and working out of the food truck, which was fun. I got to play my own music, listen to my own podcasts. I just have to occasionally get screamed at by an Arab man for not giving him enough garlic sauce. That kind of thing. So that was like a good chunk of getting through the pandemic, was just working and like finding joy in other things through that.
But not like desperately trying to find ways to perform?
I think I did a show after a year. I think I did Cherrywood after a year of not doing any shows, and that was like my first show back, and I had like a great time. And I was on. I think Fahim Anwar was on that show.
Oh, wow.
Who was like a comic I'd looked up to at that point for sure. And I just on a whim had seen his special like 2 months ago, before I was on that show, and I don't even like watch specials that much. Like I don't go out of my way to like watch a special that's just dropped or anything, but I just saw it like just pulled it up like just on YouTube, auto suggest or something, saw the whole thing, and then like 6 weeks later I was like on a show with him, and I hadn't done stand up in a whole year, so that was crazy for me to experience. And the show went really well, so I that was definitely like a good boost to my confidence. I was like, oh, I can still do this. It's only been a year. And I don't know if I even made anything that year. I feel like I was really just kind of focusing on like learning what I could from stuff before me. I think a lot of people in college will watch stuff like the Larry Sanders Show and stuff like that they discover, and all of that kind of, I don't know, you have to binge it at some point and get it into your head, and I feel like the pandemic was like a good moment for me.
What were your binges? Your favorite binges?
Well, Clarkson always watched these crazy samurai movies, these Japanese movies. So I'd come home and they'd just be on for hours on end.
Oh my gosh.
And I must have seen so many weird movies that he had. He's kind of a media fiend. He like really collects things. So it's good to have like a guru with you who guides you through things like that. I was trying to play D&D during the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
That was something I was trying to get done. Didn't really like we were playing a little bit, and then like it mainly became us fighting with each other. Which I don't know, it was all out of love, but it was still fun.
Have you done Evan's Critical Hit show?
No, I've heard about it.
You
I
should
remember when
hit him up.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be really fun. I remember when he came up with that, he was talking about it outside Chortle Portal once, and he was like, "Yeah, it's going to be a D&D show." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool."
Because he was on recently, and he complained, comics don't play D&D, and I'm like, well, here's one.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not good, but I'd love
Yeah, I don't
to
think
hop
you
in.
need to be good. I don't think he's going to test you on whether you can.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Roll the
I can't
dice
even-
the right
yeah.
way, or my defense stats or whatever.
Yeah.
All of that's there's a certain like you got to be a little autistic coded to be able to like really work around D&D, like to really understand the dungeon master side to it, which I definitely have that side to me. I like rules and homework and stuff. I'm like a little I'm into all of that. I'm diligent.
Yeah.
So
Okay, you have brought up his name a couple of times, and I know I don't want you to necessarily speak for him, but Clarkston. Okay, I remember interviewing him, and one of the things that continues to stick in my brain is when I asked him, I don't know how it came up. It was something about, is there nothing else you'd want to pursue? And he's like, his response was something to the effect of, look at me. There's nothing else I can do. And it breaks my heart that I don't see him in the comedy scene anymore.
Yeah, we all miss him. Every time we mention him, I'm always like, oh, I don't mean to dead name, or I don't mean to like bring him into it. But he came back a couple months ago. He did the show at Rio Market. He did business hours at the convenience store, and it was really fun to see him again.
Yeah.
He comes to town every here and there. He's still around, we call on the phone.
Does he not live in Austin anymore?
He moved to Nacogdoches.
Oh, okay. I don't even know where that is.
It's known as the oldest town in Texas.
Oh.
I think that's part of the appeal. It also has the largest blueberry festival in the state. Important things to know. And it has a very good Taco Bell. When I was there last, that Taco Bell was spectacular. I was blown away by how fast the service was, how friendly the servers were. It was a great experience overall. One of the best Taco Bells probably in this entire great state. So definitely
I might have
recommend.
to submit this to Taco Bell marketing, see if I can get a sponsorship deal. All right, so pass the word along. He is missed, by the old
I'll
lady
let him
podcaster.
Know. everyone brings him up whenever I bring him up, or when everyone has feelings of, a lot of feelings about him, because he was a big inspiration for me when I was starting. Chortle Portal was like the show to be on when I came to town, and it was a hoot. It was just like an insane show.
Yeah, and you never knew what you were going to get from him, and it was always just, the energy was amazing.
Yeah, I remember when I was starting business hours, it's definitely the blueprint for what I wanted the show to be like, and we had both Danny and Clarkson on, and getting their approval felt so good. Like just doing the show.
Tell me more.
We had them on one week and then the other. So we had, I think, Clarkson on and then Danny on, and Danny was like, yeah, this is same, the music is playing. There's just filled with kids. Everyone's really weird. Everyone's on. We gave everyone these like THC gummies. So it's like, we can't smoke in the store like you could at Chortle Portal. You can't drink in the store like you could at Chortle Portal, but we were trying our hardest to cultivate like a friendly and kind of off the wall crazy show idea and do it weekly. So it was really fun. Yeah.
How did you and Carlos come up with this idea?
I walked into the store one day and there was like two dudes playing Careless Whisper on guitar. And then there was no one else in the store. The owner of the store was just standing in the back with his arms crossed. And like that was the entire show. There was just two people and the owner, and I went up to the owner and I was like, hey, do you think we could do like a comedy show here? And he was like, yeah, why not? And then we just, the next week we started up and we got the show rolling. We did 15 shows last year in like the span of 4 or 5 months. So that was really cool.
And you got like some serious press. You got the Spectrum News to come do a little profile on you.
We were on the news, which was really cool. We got to do like live morning coverage. We came in suits. I told Carlos and Conrad, I was like, we got to dress up for this. We got to go all out. So they did a spot, and Lando Shepard actually saw that live and took a picture of it and was like, oh, my boys are on TV. And I was like, yes, that's huge. I'm so glad that it's actually getting
real
press. Yeah, it was getting real. It was kind of intimidating. It was very scary to have but it worked out really well when we were running it at least.
Did you get a bump?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know if anyone actually came from watching the news, but there was definitely some more talk, I think, more word of mouth. We had great, I remember after that when we had great turnout for like 4 or 5 the next ones. I mean, we had good turnout the whole time, but those were like especially good.
Yeah.
Like packing out the convenience store, which, dream come true.
Yeah. Convenience store, what's next? IKEA, is that next?
That would be huge, yeah. I'd love to do something in an HEB or like a Sam's Club show, any sort of, if anyone's out there who owns any sort of retail store, I'd love to come in and just mess up the vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Has anybody told you, no, I'm not performing in a convenience store?
None of the comics we've asked have said no, but we've definitely had weird reactions when they get there, where they're just like really perplexed by the situation. And most of the time they talk about it on stage, where they're just like, "This is insane," because it's like it's still running as a convenience store
Yeah.
while the show's happening. So people were coming in to buy food and drinks and get beer, and the show's going on, and we're standing right in front of the beer coolers. So for them to like walk back there and like grab a pack of Coors while we're like doing the shows, really surreal.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
Yeah. The
It was-
environment kind of brings material as well.
yeah, definitely, especially when we're running out of our own. So that was really useful. It's the most fun I ever had doing anything, was running that show.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was the highlight of last year for sure. It
And
was
you
crazy.
took a little break over the holidays, but you're back.
Not yet. We are
Oh.
still on hiatus right
Ah,
now.
okay.
We haven't come back yet, but we want to do kind of like a bigger one coming up soon. So we're in talks with the store owner right now. We've been busy with other things as well, and Carlos and I have another show at the Valve that we've been running, so that's been also taking up our energy
What is that
elsewhere. It's called the Buddy System. It's kind of like a newlywed game where we like have comics do their sets, then we like ask them questions about each other. It's a fun show. It's also kind of like it's kind of a gimmicky show. But it's pretty enjoyable, and like everyone seems to like it so far. So it's been fun running a show at an actual club instead of just like a convenience store or a co-op, which both of those are just like, I just asked if I could do it and then showed up and started doing it. Like I had to rent out all the gear myself and all of that.
Oh yeah, there's
So,
that.
like, working at an actual comedy club is great. It definitely feels more legit. I like doing like the underground shows or stuff that's more spur of the moment decision, but like it is nice having like a actual club that like lets you kind of do what you want to do.
Yeah. I saw you most recently at Clara's Good Pollution show, where you and Carlos did some kind of goofy.
Yes, we did like a sketch
sketch.
about being ghost hunters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos and I have been doing a lot of sketches in the last year. I think we've done, Emma Holder has a show at Fallout that we do basically every month, and we've done, I think, at least like 10 of those.
Oh, wow.
And then I've done one of those by myself with some friends too. And yeah, I think I find sketch to be just more like, it's a good writing tool. I am not nearly as passionate about it. I wouldn't want to like take it. I don't see myself taking it to the next level per se, or like trying to record them even. I see it as like a really great tool of just like writing weird stuff, because we were even doing that for business hours. We were kind of like doing sketches at the top of the show.
Oh yeah.
Because like I think Chortle Portal did that a lot, where they used to have these like crazy ideas at the top, these really big high concept stuff, and it's like, I don't know, that's always been something that's intrigued me outside of just doing bass stand up, which I like doing. It's definitely the thing I like want to do for the rest of my life, but it's these weird kind of odd shows and sketches that like I find to be most interesting. I don't know, I like being just insane. I like being like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the best ways to do that, to go about it
Yeah. Yeah.
with like an audience in front of everyone.
You mentioned that you were going to be finishing up your schooling soon. Is that this? is that
Yeah, in the
happening
next
this
year,
Okay.
probably by December.
Are you
yeah.
going to stay in Austin, you think?
I think so. Yeah, I'd like to stay in Austin for a couple more years for sure. I love the city, and the community here I have. I don't think I could. It would take me a while to like learn everything about everyone in a new place. I think there's clubs I want to work at here. There's like institutions I respect and people that I respect so much that I feel like I still have a lot to learn and a lot to do in the city before I'd move out. I'm very hopeful for staying in Austin.
Yeah, cool. And you got through FPIA this year?
Yeah, I mean, I did it. It was definitely not.
Was it better?
Yeah, it wasn't anything like the first time I did it. It went great. It was a good time. It was a fun room. Yeah, Andrew Murphy was hosting, so he's my neighbor now.
Oh.
We live right next to each other. I think that night at FPIA, I like pulled him aside right before I went up on stage and was like, "Look at this couch that's right outside of my place. I just got this today, and you could have had this couch. It was like up for grabs, and I got it, and I kind of like, I kind of flexed on him a little bit.
Yeah.
I got the couch. He didn't get the couch. That was kind of I know he was hosting FPIA and he was a previous winner and stuff,
Right.
but in that moment, I kind of felt like a winner because I got that nice teal couch.
Yeah.
And I still have it. It's one of my
teal.
best couches.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's nice,
Huh.
nice couch. It's very low to the ground, so you sink in really nice. Yeah, that was good. It was a good time doing that. I hope that's interesting. That seems like a very tangential.
I don't know. We've covered so many random topics in this episode that there's something for everybody, I think. Right? I think so. We've
guess
covered everything. It's been a jam-packed episode.
I've
and I'm,
name dropped so
looking-
many people.
We're not even at an hour. Look at that. I mean, so many. Yeah, you have name dropped a lot of people.
So many names, only useful for people who live here. But no, I'm sure some of them are going to be stars. So
One day. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you?
I don't know. What do you want to know about me? What perplexes? What kind of? I guess I have some other weird things. I teach improv at a senior center right now.
Really?
Yeah, I started teaching an improv class at a senior center like in November, because me and like a friend of mine just sort of like walked out over there, and I was like, hey, I'd never been to this like senior center, and we showed up and we were like, what should we say? Like, why are we here? And I was like, well, maybe we're trying to teach a class. And so we walked in and we're like, hey, can we teach a class? And they were like, sure, just fill out this form. And then we're volunteers. We just started teaching a weekly improv class there. And we have a recital coming up actually at the end of March. I would love it if you guys came out. Bring whoever you'd like. Bring your son. Bring friends. It's gonna be a friends and family recital. Everyone who's in the like class is between like 55 and 70. So, and they're all really so sharp. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. There's this one.
I love this.
One lady, not to name drop again. Her name is Judith. She is a killer. She is so funny, so quick-witted. She's one of my favorites in the whole class, and I just love. I mean, I'm not even like an improv person. I just think it was like an interesting experience to like. And I've never taught improv.
I was going to say, do you have any
no credits, nothing. I shouldn't be allowed to do it. They shouldn't let us in. They shouldn't let us do this, but we showed up and we're enthusiastic, and they're like, that's fine. You get, go in there. You do what you got to do, and it's fine. I've taken an improv class before, I guess, and that helps. But you really don't need to know anything about improv to do improv.
Don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud.
Yeah, we'll see how the recital goes, I guess. But
well, I guarantee you they're going to have fun. And their friends
yeah.
and families are going to be like, oh my God, this is so cute and wonderful. And
they're loving it, yeah.
They're going to love you for bringing that to them.
Hopefully, that's the plan, unless it goes really bad.
Yeah.
Unless it goes off. But yeah, unless they ban us from the senior center, which would be a shame because I also play ping pong there a lot, and I've been recently getting into Mexican Train just to see what that's about. I love going there. They have a great Tai Chi class that we sometimes will go and promo the improv class to. We'll like hop in before the class starts and be like, hey, come to our class. It's pretty cool. It's every Tuesday at 1. So
I'm gonna turn a little maternal on you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So try not to make this too awkward.
I'll become like a son.
When-
I'll go son mode.
No.
Yeah.
When I sitting here in front of you today versus remembering you from the open mics in your early days, which I didn't realize it was that early days. Like you were very closed off, and you were like, you felt like you didn't want anybody to talk to you.
Oh, really?
And that was my impression.
That's interesting. I never knew that that's what I was like. But that makes, I guess.
But I at the
Wow.
time I was also starting out, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and
Wow.
But
Thank you, Mom. Do you mind if I call you Mom?
well, I mean, my real son's not here, so I guess.
Got him.
But yeah, I mean, it's just that, and I think that's part of why I'm so excited, because it's like, well, compared to what I was seeing at open mics, like this is like, you gaining your confidence over the years and like really finding the things that make you happy, and that's just cool.
I think anyone who starts when they're 18 can be very, I don't know, I think that's probably what made me a bit more reserved when I first started, was
Yeah.
I kind of felt younger than everyone else, and I was then scared that everyone would be like pretty mean to me. So I think getting over that helped, and it definitely comes from having friends who are coming up with you at the same time. That was definitely a big confidence boost for me.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. But yeah, thanks. I mean, I didn't know I was even giving off such a standoffish vibe at first. I thought
You were an absolute jerk to me. Okay, let's just put it that way. No, you weren't.
Yeah.
But I've never had a conversation with you before then, and I'm, I'll be very honest and truthful with you. I'm like, I'm never having him on my podcast. He won't talk to me.
I was probably intimidated. I probably thought you were
not
very cool and talk to everyone, and also are very involved in the scene. I was probably scared to do so. And I was like, I'm too young to have any wisdom at this point, so I should keep my mouth shut. I feel like that's what a lot of starting young is you're around older comics, and you can sound naive so quickly, so you just want to listen first before you speak.
Yeah.
That was definitely a huge part of when I first started up. You don't want to piss people off immediately or be just like, too annoying about it. Because there's also that where it's like, if you're doing stand-up and then all you talk about is doing stand-up, and that's like its own mind game in itself.
Yeah,
where it's
that's
like,
true.
I kind of actually just like thinking about other stuff, and then the stand-up comes from that. I feel like that's its own conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to give you a props for, I guess 5 years in now that, I can see, because I guess that's my role as the documentarian of the Austin comedy scene, is seeing people when they're first starting out. And then, when I get to talk to them, we're seeing them years down the road, where it's like, you're blossoming. You've kind of settled into this now. You're comfortable in this avenue. So.
Definitely feel stronger than when I was, I mean, I just think part of it is finding the right people. It's always about finding your people in whatever world you're going into, and then becoming comfortable with them. That was super important for me, because if I didn't have like the support of my friends and just like, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to go out. I wouldn't be able to talk to people. I'd be constantly doubting myself. But I feel relatively confident that I can make things that I think are funny. Like outside of just stand-up, I mean, in general, that's the goal with whatever I'd want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with writing especially, too. That's like one of my... I feel like that's something I'd want to do. That's my passion, is writing stuff. Because I like performing, but writing is something that I feel like that'll be something I want to do when I'm way older. And performing, I might, I don't know. It's just, being in a room with people and then coming up with ideas is probably one of my favorite things to do. So, yeah. I think that's a big part of I am still in school, but like I'm writer at at the humor magazine there at UT. And like last year we had David McQuarrie on Business Hours, and he was like a former editor-in-chief for the magazine that I write at, and he was so funny, and it was so interesting to have him on, because that was like a huge moment for me personally to like see him. And I'd only seen him, I knew he did Chortle Portal like years ago, and I hadn't seen him in Austin, and he drove all the way from Houston to do the show. And that was such a significant moment for me to, yeah, I don't know, that was huge. I loved every part of it. But he's like being able to write like that is,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's super impressive to me.
Yeah. And to tie it back to what I was gushing over you at the very beginning, you know, he makes a pretty awesome video series.
Yeah,
I think it's fluoride.
I don't want to get it wrong.
And I will get it wrong. So, but yeah.
But,
so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his stuff is awesome. I love animated stuff. I love weird TV shows like that.
Yeah.
I grew up on like a lot of weird animated shows, just Liquid Television, MTV stuff, like, you know, Mike Judge shows and South Park when I was in middle school, and just all of that stuff I think is super important for like development.
Yeah.
And developing your sense of humor, finding out what stuff you like.
Right.
Because like I mean, yeah, I used to listen to like the Sirius XM stand-up radio thing. I don't know if you ever experienced
I never
that.
listened to it.
That was a huge thing for me. It was just shuffling comedians,
yeah.
just shuffling jokes and sets, and that was probably one of the most impactful early experiences I had with comedy. That and Conan O'Brien, his show. Just like my family would sit together and watch that all the time.
Oh.
That was huge. Yeah, I don't think anything's ever really. I don't think anything will ever come like surmount what Conan did for me as a kid.
Yeah.
Probably.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I warned you, my mother at some point was going to chase you out of here.
Oh yeah, I hope she enjoys these treats I brought her.
I'm sure she will enjoy them.
I tried to get treats that I think my mother would like, so I got like some cookie. Czech tea cookies are very popular with older white women. So's the coconut macaroon, which I also got.
Yeah, she'll love that.
So I hope she enjoys those.
Yeah.
And I hope you all have a great dinner.
Thank you. Okay, well, let me ask you my closing question.
Okay.
One word to describe your future. I wish I was recording this.
Virtuous.
Virtuous. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with that one.
Okay.
Because I started making the V sound, and then I realized I had to commit to it.
Oh.
So,
Well,
and also, it's a good word. I
It
think
is a good word.
I really don't know what it means in this context. Though.
Yeah,
I
in
don't
the
know what
comedy
it means.
context, I don't either.
I don't know what that means, but I think it's a cool word, and people need yeah. I think it means like someone, you know, I'll feel good about it. Maybe like hopefully in the future I'll feel good about my career in comedy, and I'll feel virtuous.
Yeah,
I don't know
sure.
I don't know if that means righteous. I literally don't know what that means, but that's my word.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think of it as like ethical, but I don't think it's even that.
I think it's kind of like, you know, having like feeling positive about yourself, or just good virtue, having good morals.
Yeah.
I don't know if I care about morals in comedy, but I just thought it'd be a fun old biblical word to use.
Yeah,
Kind of.
it's great. All right. Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham presents Zain Hussain. Tell us where we can find you on social media. And projects.
On
and
Instagram at zane.huss.ain. Zain is Z-A-I-N. And then I also have another project called Nadeem's_store on Instagram. That's very important to me. It's a convenience store. It's a celebration of a convenience store on a digital platform. It's like a fake convenience store that I say my uncle owns, and it's definitely one of my bigger projects I've worked on in the last year. So check that out. Okay. That's very important. Business Hours is on Instagram. You can find all of it like on my main page, I'm sure. Yeah, that's all my social stuff.
Okay.
And then upcoming shows and stuff. Business Hours might come back later. I don't know. Who knows?
So non-committal
I
about
don't really, yeah, whatever. Come to the improv recital for the senior center. That's going to be huge. The name of our group is Glass Half Silly. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm doing like an unofficial South by Southwest show for some bands that me and I think the only other person I know booked on it is Casey Rocket. And then I think we're just doing that. That's the only other upcoming thing I have going on. And check out the buddy system at at Valve, the Valve. That's, yeah, I like doing that. Those are the shows I kind of regularly do.
Is that a monthly?
That's a monthly. So is the character show at Fallout that Emma Holder runs, also a monthly show. That's me.
That's you. That's you. All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Zain got to be the comedic genius that you heard today, just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham presents Zain Hussain. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Zain.
Thank you, Valerie.